Update Reddit.
What's the strangest thing you found in your house, property after you bought it? Not my house, but the school my friend worked at. A pipe had leaked and ruined a wall in the building, one of the oldest schools in the city. It was a beautiful property. Anyways, the pipe leaked, so they pulled down the ruined wall and behind the wall found a door. A fully furnished apartment was there. Had a coal-burning stove to heat it. Early 1900s appliances and decor. It was for the caretaker of the school. My house has a 2-person jacuzzi tub with mirrors on 3 walls around it. When I was looking at the house, there was a 4-post canopy bed with a mirror inside the canopy. Needless to say, the previous owner had his thing. When I was moving in, I found in the basement a bar with cuffs on either end hanging from the ceiling and 2 eye bolts in a board on the floor that would have made this a perfect place to tie someone up spread eagle. I strongly suspect that is what it was used for. I have a room that used to be a bar. Previous owner took the bar itself with him despite it being a built-in. It has a dropped ceiling and the lights are above with clear panels to let the light through. I was moving ceiling tiles to change a bulb and got hit in the face by what I'm guessing was a homemade sex swing that was bolted to the rafters above. I've been in this house 15 years and I still occasionally find a secret panel in a wall. It seems anywhere there was an extra bit of space, he put a removable panel to make a hidden storage space. And despite all that, the single most surprising thing I found in this house is the light switch in the bathroom that has power going to it but doesn't seem to actually switch anything in the house. What do you go to, you mysterious switch? When will you stop taunting me and give up your secrets? It turns the TV on and off in the neighbor's apartment. My husband had a car that he bought off a friend. He had it for 4 years and the driver's side window started messing up and getting off track, so we popped the frame off to fix it. In the door frame, we found a handgun and 2 clips wrapped in a white t-shirt. We called the friend he bought it from and turns out that the car was sold to her from a police auction. My dad moved into an apartment and the whole place had its nice original wood flooring from the 1940s except for the living room, which had carpet. Kind of a bummer because the wood looks nicer, but oh well. One problem, though. When it's warm out, the living room smells. Can you guess where this is going? My dad decided to investigate and eventually peeled the carpet up to find a large black stain on the subfloor. A black stain so large a person could lie inside of it. The last tenant died and melted in the living room and all they did was pull the hardwood up. A cardboard box with a ball gag and handcuffs. I thought it was a box of extra hardware for the closet shelves. This was after they sent a message through the realtor asking if I had found a digital camera. I had not, but I'd be kind of curious, afraid to look at what was on it. Probably the ball. My parents bought a home that used to be a funeral parlor almost 100 years ago. Dad had never questioned why there was a second bulkhead that went nowhere, and when there was a bust pipe they finally had to cut it open. Inside we found a small walled-off room that had hundreds of old bottles, odd equipment, chemicals, perfumed salts, stained glass windows from the original building and a few old ledgers plus accounting books. Parents had no use for it and a local antique shop owner, town historian, happily took it when offered. We had received some cool old copies of photos of how the house originally looked a few years later. I just can't get my head around how big a house must be for there to be random rooms that you don't even know about. I need and use every inch of space in my house. After moving into our new house, we found around $14,000 behind the toilet. Apparently the person who lived in the house before us did not believe in banks. An uncomfortably obvious meth lab and a secret passageway walls had been gutted, leading from a bedroom closet to a linen closet close to the back door. Also, in the same house, an antique piano from the early 1900s. Had it been kept in better condition, we were told it would have been worth at least like $10,000 because that particular model was so rare. You found a piano? How was it missed? Shotgun and a weed grinder in the drop tile ceiling of the basement. A coworker bought a house and found a hunting rifle and box of ammo on top of the kitchen cabinets where you could not see anything from the floor. I'm not very tall. I was cleaning out my bedroom while preparing to move out of the house my family had rented for about 3 years. At the top of the closest, right at the back, were a balled-up pair of a stranger's used underwear. That had apparently been there for at least the 3 years we'd lived there. That was gross. Found a box full of random S in our basement of our apartment. Inside there was an Alcoholics Anonymous book filled with handwritten notes that progressively got less and less legible. Phone numbers, names, stories. We tried calling a few numbers and no one answered. I think the woman died from her struggles. We found a stack of acrylic paintings in the basement, all very amateurish. Subjects ranged from creepy little girls to 70s psychedelic nude ladies. Realtor told the owners to pick them up, or they would end up in the trash. They showed up a year later asking for them. Bonus, junk removal guy loved the 70s nudes, asked to keep them. I recently bought a house and I think it's lacking in psychedelic nude ladies. Rented the property, didn't buy. Moved in and found a large sign in the rafters of the garage that had the words, meth house. It certainly helped connect the dots with everything else wrong with the place. My kids found a crawl space up in a bedroom. They found Ken dolls with their hands melted and razors embedded. I did my best to lighten the freakishness and joked that Sid must have lived there. Barbie Thunderdome. 2 Kens enter, 1 Ken leaves. A .38 revolver, hidden in a closet. Had a police officer friend run the serial number. Turns out it was stolen in a home burglary in 1973. We found it in 1998. In situations like this, what is done with the weapon? Do the police try and return it to the owner? Do they keep it? Do you keep it? Keeps me up at night, man. We bought our house in September last year. About this time last year our cat started playing with this little wooden thing he found. We had no idea what he was playing with, but when we walked over to see what it was, it turned out to be a little dreidel. We had never seen it before, but that's when our cat let us know he was Jewish. December last year, he was celebrating Hanukkah. Attic was full of doll heads. I left them there for the next owner. My cousin found an honest-to-gosh hidden room. A bookshelf swung forward and revealed an unfinished place under the stairs. It had a water glass and some Star Wars books from 1996 in it. House I grew up in, built in the 70s, had the opening to the attic behind a bookshelf. Kinda secret, except the bookshelf was built into the wall about 4 feet off the ground. A child-sized WWE belt. Despite purchasing my first home and now being several years' worth of salary in debt for the first time, I was most interested in how I could possibly wear such a fine article of clothing to work the next day. Hang it over your shoulder and walk through the office. Instant respect. When I lived in a townhouse a few years ago, my roommate and I noticed a message scratched into the side of the refrigerator. Find the X. We searched that place high and low, never found an X. I really hope it was someone F with us, because if I moved out and never found the buried treasure, I'm gonna be pissed. $10 your roommate scratched that they're to F with you. A USB drive belonging to the previous owner. It held 30 photos of his car and one of his wife and baby. Priorities. There was a kitchen hidden behind a wall, fully furnished, with a dead mouse under the table that was practically mummified. Okay, you are respectfully requested to educate the Reddit masses on A. How a complete kitchen was missed from the floor plan, B. How you found it, and C. What was in it? Unexploded World War II parachute bomb. Had to have the bomb squad come out and collect it. A mostly full bottle of old toothache drops that have chloroform in them. Cool, an old bottle, with stuff still in it. I wonder what it SME. For me it's between a sign found on the basement ceiling that simply said, "Do not hump," and the crib in the attic with a dead baby mouse in it. Do not hump comes from rail cars that were not to be pushed over the sorting hump. When I was young and we were moving, I didn't feel like cleaning my room, so I stuffed a bunch of knickknacks and some mildly dirty underwear into a hole in the wall before we patched it up. I hope someone finds my treasure one day. I filled a hole in my childhood bedroom wall with flip-flops. My family still owns the place though. We found a small wooden box filled with black and white photos. The photos were of the previous owners along with another couple in various nude situations. The box also contained a couple of teeth. That was a strange day. My parents found a complete encyclopedia. Even though Google was a thing when I was growing up, my dad would have me look up my questions in that encyclopedia. You have been visited by the side quest cat. It only appears every 200 years. You will be granted many adventures but only if you comment, "I am coming, Kidder."